group of climate change organisations have
emissions of greenhouse gases.
Climate change is now happening.
Indonesia says it's
10 million tons of...
The Philippines tops a list of countries most susceptible to hazards caused by climate change.
Ito ang dahilan ng pagkakaroon ng mga bagyong gaya ng Super Typhoon Yolanda at Bagyong Ondoy.
This is all wrong. You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams, my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Hello everyone, my name is Kalic Potter. Today we talk about the carbon offsetting. Our topic is carbon offsetting and also greenwashing. Climate change is a pressing global issue that has become increasingly urgent in recent years. It refers to the long-term shift in global weather pattern caused by the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere, primarily from human activities. The issue of climate change is pressing because it poses a significant threat to human civilization, natural systems, and the planet as a whole. 2022 was the world's sixth warmest year on the record. Here are some statistics and examples of the impacts of climate change. As I said, the primary source of greenhouse gases are human activities, such as burning fossil fuel, deforestation, and industrial process. Burning fossil fuels, such as coal, oil, and gas, releases large amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. CO2 is the most significant greenhouse gas and is responsible for approximately 75% of the warming effect. Deforestation also contributes to climate change by reducing the number of trees that can absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. It is essential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to slow down the rate of global warming and mitigate the effects of climate change. In 2015, in Paris, representatives of 195 countries gathered and signed the Paris Agreement to combat climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The central goal of the Paris Agreement is to limit the increase of the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees above the pre-industrial levels, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees. It marks the beginning of a shift toward a carbon neutral and a net zero emission world. Many countries and big companies have committed to achieve net zero emissions by 2015.
The airline industry announced a goal of net zero airline emissions by 2050.
Pepsi pledges to be net zero by 2040.
Amazon is looking to achieve net zero carbon by 2040.
Now, Shell wants to be net zero by 20.
Net zero emission by 2015 is a critical target of the Paris Agreement. Achieving net zero emission requires significant reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, along with the implementation of technologies and practices that remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, such as afforestation, reforestation, carbon capture, and storage. Globally, we pump over 36 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. To ensure a healthy planet of the future generation, we must reduce our CO2 emissions, and one way to do this is by using carbon offsets. Carbon offset programs can play a critical role in helping countries and companies to achieve their commitments about carbon neutral under the Paris Agreement. Carbon offsetting has emerged as a popular approach for mitigating climate change in recent years. It involves purchasing carbon credits or offsetting schemes to compensate for carbon emissions that cannot be avoided or reduced. The concept of carbon offsetting suggests that individuals and companies can balance out their carbon emissions by investing in environmental projects that reduce greenhouse gas emissions or remove carbon from the atmosphere. Carbon offsets can range anywhere from a couple of hundred tons of carbon dioxide per program year to thousands of tons per program year. Travel, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and carbon sequestrations are just some of the areas that provide carbon offsets projects. As an example of successful offset projects, we can cite Qantas Group's Flying Net Zero project. In 2019, the Qantas Group committed to net zero and was one of the first airlines in the world to commit this. They have established 3 pillars to achieve net zero emissions by 2015. They are decarbonizing, innovating, and offsetting. The Qantas Group has been investing in carbon offset projects since 2007. These projects supporting positive social and economic empowerment of communities in Australia and across the globe. Their offsetting programs has divided into many groups. The biggest 3 is Fly Carbon Neutral, Qantas Future Planet, and Australia Post. This includes commitment to indigenous economic development through carbon offset partnership with the Kimberley Land Council. The Qantas Group has offset over 3 million tons of carbon through various group customer and corporate initiatives, of which 20% are from Australian projects.